Finally, after 2 days of waiting, it has been confirmed this morning that Daniel Ricciardo will partner Lando Norris at McLaren for 2021. As of recording, there is no news yet of where Carlos Sainz will be heading, but I'm pretty sure there'll be a video up very shortly explaining why the Spaniard has moved to Ferrari. I could be wrong, but I think I've got that one correct. So expect a video very shortly on that topic. But Ricciardo to McLaren, I'll put my hands up, I did not see this one coming, but as we all know, this is a huge domino effect from the announcement that Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari will be splitting paths for 2021, meaning there's a seat available at Ferrari. And whilst again it's not been announced yet, I'm sure it will be by the time this is uploaded, Sainz is moving to Ferrari and the vacant seat at McLaren is filled by Ricciardo. McLaren, what options did they have on the table? Well, they've got no juniors in their ranks in Formula 2 or lower at this particular moment. They did have Nick de Vries on the books, but he has moved to Mercedes in Formula E. Sainz and Norris have had a brilliant relationship over the past couple of years, and McLaren appears to be getting closer and closer to the front of the grid. And with Mercedes coming on board as their engine supplier in 2021, what they were really looking for is someone who can gel with Lando Norris, a relationship like Norris has got with Sainz at the moment, but also a proven race winner to get them back to the top, or at least get into that top three once the new regulations come around in 2022. And doing a quick scan of the grid, certainly with Sainz out of the door, Ricciardo, for me, should have been the number one option. Norris is still evolving, he's still learning, but they still need a solid number one driver they can rely on. And the list of drivers that they could have picked is very, very small. They could have gone with Sebastian Vettel, who appears to have fallen out of love a little bit with Formula 1, going off of his statements he made in his announcement he was going to leave Ferrari a couple of days ago. They could have tried to entice Lewis Hamilton back to the team, or hey, maybe even Fernando Alonso, but both of those I find quite unrealistic. And apart from those drivers, and Max Verstappen was never going to move, I think McLaren were always going to find it difficult to find a driver who was going to tick all those boxes. But I certainly feel Ricciardo, I've said many times, is a driver capable of winning the World Championship. He's going to move to a team and not cause any upsets, or at least hardly any disputes between his teammate and the higher-ups, management, Zach Brown, Andrea Seidel, and I just think this works pretty much for everyone. Now, for Ricciardo himself, I would argue this is a bit of a sidestep. Both Renault and McLaren are teams that are in a rebuilding process. McLaren haven't won a title since 2008, Renault since 2006, and it's only now that both of them have propelled back to the front of the midfield, but they're looking to make that next step up into the top three. Renault had signed Ricciardo only last year and he was their big talisman. They've brought back Esteban Ocon, who was at the team Enstone all the way back in 2015 as a reserve driver. But now, Ocon's going to be their star man, and questions will soon be asked who's going to replace Ricciardo, and I'm sure that's going to be a fun one over the next few days because the list is quite small, but Daniel has gone from a team where he was the clear number one, the clear future of the team, and he's moved to McLaren where I think he'll still be number one, but he's certainly going to be under more threat, I would say, from Lando Norris than what he would have been from Esteban Ocon. And again, it's still a bit of a gamble. Renault are a works team. They will be the only team most likely with Renault engines in 2021. McLaren are going to be a customer team. So from that side of things, you're starting to question, well, why has Ricciardo decided to move now? Well, you also got to bear in mind that Ricciardo made the decision to leave Red Bull. Several reasons why he decided to make that decision, but one of them certainly was that he didn't trust in the Honda project and he wanted to give Renault a couple more years to prove themselves. And in these couple more years, they haven't been able to break into that top three, and last year lost out to McLaren in the fight for best of the rest. I think the other big factor here is our current global situation. Now, we saw with Vettel saying he had a bit of time off and it's made him realise what's important in life and what he wants to do with his future. And I think with Ricciardo, I still think he's hungry to win races. He's got that fire in his belly to go on and win world championships. But I think McLaren as an entity, as an actual brand and company, is far more stable than Renault at this moment in time. Cyril Beatable, team principal at Renault, only a couple of days ago on the Sky F1 vlogcast, I think that's what they call it, made the statement that Renault are 88% down on car sales in 2020 already. 88%! That is huge. And although, we'd like to think over the next couple of months things might slowly start to return to normal, economies worldwide are going to be extremely stretched by this virus and this situation. And people aren't going to have as much money to go splashing out on new cars, and companies like Renault are going to hurt more than companies like McLaren, who are primarily based to go racing. And it's not like McLaren sell your Renault Clios or anything like that. McLaren are very much in the supercar market, and they won't be hit quite as much. They'll still be hit like all the teams are going to be, and cost caps are going to be a huge topic of conversation over the next few months. But for Ricciardo, I'm just wondering whether he feels it's a safer option to go to McLaren, and McLaren are a team that still want to win races. Renault made a step backwards last year. There's question marks constantly whether they're going to stay in F1, whether they've got the ability to make that next step forward, whereas McLaren have invested in the McLaren Technology Centre. They made a huge step forward in 2019, scored a podium in 2019 with Carlos Sainz, and maybe Ricciardo is understanding. He's 30 years old now. He's not got forever left in Formula 1. 10 years maximum, you could possibly argue. And he definitely feels that McLaren is a safer option to get back to the front than potentially Renault. But what I would say is that Renault seat available is going to be a very spicy option for drivers looking to take a gamble to get back to the front. They may even bring back Nico Hülkenberg. They would be a turn up for the books. Alonso is being heavily linked to that particular seat, Sebastian Vettel, but again, it's one to keep an eye on. They may even bring Pierre Gasly. That could be a fun one, Gasly and Ocon. Yeah, I'll definitely talk about that in another video, but I'll just go through a couple of statements made by Zak Brown, McLaren CEO, and Andreas Seidel, team principal of McLaren F1, but we'll start with Zak. Signing Daniel is another step forward in our long-term plan and will bring an exciting new dimension to the team alongside Lando. This is good news for our team partners and of course our fans. Side note, it is fantastic news for McLaren fans. I also want to pay tribute to Carlos for an excellent job he has done and been doing for McLaren in helping our performance recovery plan. He is a real team player and we wish him well for his future beyond McLaren. So still no announcement of where he's going, but again, it's most likely Ferrari. Moving on to Andreas Seidel, the team principal of McLaren F1. Daniel is a proven race winner and his experience, commitment and energy will be a valuable addition to McLaren in our mission to return to the front of the field. With Daniel and Lando as teammates, I believe we will have two racers who will continue to excite our fans and help the team grow. Carlos is a true professional, a pleasure to work with, and we will continue to enjoy going racing with him this year. We all wish him good luck for the next stage of his career when he leaves McLaren. And don't forget, all of these deals we're talking about at the moment, Vettel leaving, Sainz to wherever he goes, whoever fills that vacant Renault seat, and Ricciardo to McLaren, is not for the 2020 season if we go racing. This is all for 2021, next season. And so, after several years of going after the Honey Badger, McLaren have finally got him. They've had to let go of the Chili Master, but alongside the Milkman, I think Ricciardo and Norris is a very strong lineup heading into 2021. And I think for the regulation change in 2022, my goodness, not only is that relationship once again going to be so strong between the driver pairing at McLaren, that's a hungry driver pairing. Norris ready to get that first podium, Ricciardo ready to push a team back to the front of the grid. My goodness, I cannot wait. I'm sure you all imagined, for those who have subscribed and have been for the channel for a little bit of time, this week content is all just out of the window. News is coming so thick and fast at the moment. Please bear with us. Where's Carlos Sainz going to go? That is the big question. I'm sure I'll be with you later on today to answer that one. If you are new, feel free to subscribe. And another question is, who's going to fill that vacant Renault seat? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.